Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. Can you please introduce yourself?
Well, my name is Katrice Garvin, and what else you want to know?
Some of everything I'm gonna ask you in this interview.
Okay.
So, Treese, I'm doing this interview with you because you're one of the proud members of our team, and we know how you do so many things. And I wanted to take this time to kind of interview to let people know exactly more about you, what you do for a living, and how you got started in those things.
Okay.
So, tell us about the traits that you have and the skill sets that you do.
Regarding the
Everything.
Okay.
Yeah, because I want people to know all the different things that you do.
I have my hands in a few things. So my main profession is I would say all of the things are creative, but mainly hairstyling and makeup. I also do a little bit of fashion styling in conjunction with hair and makeup, like with photo shoots, things like that. And then I have, on the other aspect of creativity that is involved with real estate, I do interior design and some light rehabbing work and short-term rentals and corporate housing. A layman's term would be Airbnb.
Got you. So let's talk a little bit more about you. So I know that you're a second generation real estate investor as well.
I am.
So can you talk a little bit about you being a second generation real estate investor and how that kind of helped influence you?
Okay, so, well, in general, I come from a family and a bloodline of serial entrepreneurs. And even with my grandmother, she would sew clothes and she would sell candy. And anytime she would meet somebody, she's like, hey, what's your hustle? What do you have going on? She was always a multiple streams of income. Then it goes down to my parents. They did different multi-level marketing jobs. And my mom was always focused on wanting to have a house and loving real estate. And everyone would talk about how that's not something that's attainable because she grew up in the projects. But she always had a vision. And so my father, my mother is like the starter, but my father is the longevity and the finisher type of personality. And so they work well together because where she starts, he finishes, and combining the drive of my mom, finding the properties, finding what groups to commune with and network with and learn how the process works and where they need to be. We came together and started doing what they would call buy and hold. So we got properties in the, it would be called the West Englewood area, which is not typically a great area. And that's what a lot of real estate investors do. They buy low and then they sell high. And during that time, properties were only going for about $10,000 and things like that. And so working with different, like NHSs and different companies like that, they would get these properties, and as a family, we would rehab them. So I would be, and this is like at the age of 12, rehabbing properties with my parents, painting walls, things like that. And we all learned and, just moved along as a family and a business, and we grew together. And we have over 12 plus properties just as a family that we've just maintained over the years.
Okay, so that's pretty awesome. Now, talk to me about you doing the hair and makeup and fashion. Talk about that creative side of you.
So where that came from was, well, let's backpedal into the real estate. The real estate investing helped fund my education to college. So I had out-of-state fees. I attended Florida A&M University. And so going there, they weren't really interested in giving my parents financial aid and things like that. So in conjunction with the financial aid that I was able to get on my own, they helped with my tuition through the real estate properties. And so while in college, I joined different clubs and organizations and got into fashion and modeling and things like that. And I've always been good with my hands. I've always had an interest in painting, drawing, sewing, things like that. And so it just merged and just, I guess, flowed right into college. And that's where I started doing more hair and more makeup just on friends. And it was an escape for me, so to speak.
Okay, so now talk about today. Like, you have your own shop. Can you talk about your shop and how that came about and how awesome it is to like, own your own shop?
So after graduating from Florida A&M, I went straight into attending Pivot Point, and I left the school early. Well, I'm not gonna say I left. I finished early. I doubled down on hours and things like that because I was so passionate about it, and it didn't seem like work for me. And as my parents saw me working at multiple salons and things like that, they thought that it would be a good investment for us to, as a family, purchase another property and have a salon. Because it's always been important, and it's always been stressed in my family, that the power of owning land. And so instead of buying a commercial or like renting out a commercial property to have your space as a salon, if they decide to not renew the lease, now you don't have any course of action except to move. So this was a way to solidify a business, and they saw how I was growing with it, and we teamed up and started going that way. And so I wanted it to be a unisex salon, and so I came up with the name of Venus and Mars, kind of piggybacking off of the book.
So that's pretty awesome. Okay, so now let's talk about real estate investing and some of the things that you've done on your own, outside of your parents. So can you talk about how we met? Do you remember how we met and where we met at? And can you tell that story?
So we met because we were in a circle of real estate investors. It was a group, and we all talk about education and doing different deals, and we all network together, like-minded individuals that have a focus in real estate investing. And so I think you were doing like some training or facilitating at one of the meetings that we were having. And so that's when I got introduced from a fellow person that we both knew, and we just hit it off from there.
Okay, so now talk about our time of working together and what we've started to create.
So we kind of went from, I guess, just meeting in a room to going to different properties or to having conversations just to kind of figure out where we were, if we would mesh well together as far as a partnership, what our goals were, our work ethic, things like that, and if we could both help each other win. And most people know that you can accomplish more when more hands are involved. What I can do in an hour versus what 4, 5, 6 hands can do in an hour is going to be a lot greater when you have help and you have a team. And so we both had the same like mindset as far as team building, and we had the similar goals as far as what we were trying to accomplish. And we started to go to view properties, thinking about which type of strategies we wanted to do. And so we started off on one strategy as far as rehabbing and fixing and flipping, and then we started merging into the corporate housing and short-term rental strategy.
So express, can you tell people what that experience was like, obtaining our first short-term rental for you?
As far as what I did or
how you felt about it, it
was exciting.
Okay.
Because it was something new. And being a creative, that's what I love about being a creative, because it's always something new. It's always something changing. With hair, it's something changing, a different color, a different style. With makeup, it's a different look. It's, trying to achieve something different every time. It's not the same thing. So when it came to the short-term rental, it was like that was a new strategy from what I was born and raised in, right? So I was excited. I'm like, hey, this is something new. I understood the background of buying and holding, and I didn't necessarily want to continue down that path of real estate. I knew that was something that I understood, and I'm like, okay, that's fine, but I want to see what else is out there, what other options and avenues, because I hear that there are multiple streams and multiple ways that you can get involved in real estate investing without just that one strategy. Mm-hmm. So it was very exciting to dive into a different strategy that was going to be able to produce the same amount of income without more, but also have less stress.
Okay. And so, what kind of advice can you give to people that are looking to learn about real estate investing, short-term rentals, or anything? What kind of advice can you give to them?
You first have to understand who you are as a person, because there are so many different strategies that you can get lost in the shiny object syndrome, because everything sounds good. And technically, yes, everything can make money. If you work at something and you are diligent and you're consistent, you will make money at it. That's just how things work when you constantly do something. I started out not having any clients, but I constantly kept doing, and then the clientele came, and then, you know, it's a sequence. So you have to understand your personality type. If you're the type of person that's in it for the long haul or not, and that will help you decide what area of real estate you want to be in. Some people like fixing and flipping, but to me, it kind of seems more like a job, because I constantly have to do it in order for income to come in. I'm more along the mindset where I want my money to work for me. I want to do something. I want to set it and forget it. And not forget it like I don't have to pay attention to it, but I want my money to work for me. So certain levels of real estate and certain strategies will afford you more of that type of lifestyle than others. And so you just have to decide what type of lifestyle you want for yourself.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to close this out by a couple of things. So one, is there anyone that you want to give a shout out to, or, you know, thanks, or, you know, anyone special that you want to kind of give a shout out to?
Well, I guess my parents, because of them and their tenacity, I realized, like, oh, okay, like, this is the thing. This is something that is possible. We came from the hood and they built their own house. So that's pretty dope.
Okay.
So I said I'd try it.
Awesome. So Katrice, we wanted to thank you. Oh, before I go, one last question.
Okay.
Is there can you describe any value that, like, Janae and I have brought to you since we've met?
Oh yes, you guys keep me on my toes, which is great, because I have accountability partners now, and I think when you do anything or you participate in anything, you need to have that. So if you're wanting to do something that's different than your routine, and in order for it to become routine, you have to stay consistent. But when you are faced with adversities, or you need some guidance, or just some advice, or someone to bounce ideas off of, you need to have those anchors. And so that's what you guys have been.
I greatly appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So thanks again, Katrice. I appreciate your time, and look forward to doing more videos.
Let's do it.